So, Osso Buco Part 1, I've cut around the outside edges so that it doesn't curl up when it's cooking, and I've tied it and salt and peppered it. Now I'm going to dredge it in flour on both sides and get my pan ready. Now we have the veal shanks seared off. Nicely browned on both sides. Did those for, I don't know, about a couple minutes on both sides, give or take, on like medium-high heat. And then I've got onions, garlic, and celery and carrots finely minced in here. I'm going to saute them. I'm going to cut up these herbs fresh from my garden. I've got sage, flat leaf Italian parsley, basil, and fresh rosemary. And then the wine will go into here. The herbs will go in. And then I'll be chopping up some tomatoes and putting those in. Oh yeah. Okay, so now I've cooked back the onions, the celery, the carrots, and the garlic, and I've added the rosemary, sage, parsley, and basil. And now I'm going to add a quarter cup of wine here. There we go. And we're going to cook that off until there's almost nothing, and then we're going to add these tomatoes. I've added these lovely tomatoes, and I'm going to add the broth. It's chicken broth, and I used white wine, by the way. So we're just going to get that stirring around, and we're going to get it till it's a light simmer. We want the heat down low and into a light simmer. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the veal in, and we're gonna nestle it in there and make sure that the liquid comes 3/4 of the way up these veal shanks over here. And then we're gonna cover it really well, and we're just gonna let that simmer for an hour until it gets fork tender. The veal does. You see, I've got that on a simmer, and I'm gonna lid this. I've got the broth in there and the wine and the beautiful tomatoes, and as you see, it does come 3/4 way up the meat. And yes, I'm gonna lid that super good, and I'm gonna let that simmer for an hour, and then I'm gonna check it and make sure it's fork tender. So it's been an hour now, and as you can see, it's very, very tender. Very tender. So I'm just going to let that sit there in its heat. And right now I'm working on the risotto. So I've got chicken stock in here, and I added fresh saffron to that and a little bit of water. You get it up to a simmer, and then you put it aside and you keep it warm. And right now I have got it on medium heat, and I'm going to get these onions sizzling. So now I've got these onions sizzling. I'm going to add a couple cups of arborio rice. And that's this rice right here. Arborio rice. And what you want to do is cook this for a couple minutes. You want to crack the rice kernels and brown them a bit and get all that going. And then what I'm going to do is add half a cup of wine or more. And then what you're going to do is you're going to wait till the rice absorbs it, and then you'll start adding ladlefuls of the saffron chicken broth to the rice until it absorbs it, and you're going to keep continuing that step. Keep adding ladles, let the rice absorb it. And I've got this on medium heat right now. Okay, so now that I've got my rice kernels browned and cracked open, I'm going to add my wine, and then I'll start ladling the broth in. But when I'm doing that, I'll turn it down to a simmer, and I'm gonna let the rice absorb the wine. There we go. Now we'll turn this down to simmer. There, we've got that on simmer. And we're gonna just let the rice, sauna. We're just gonna let the rice absorb this beautiful wine. There, as you can see, the rice is absorbing the wine nicely. And in a minute, I'm going to start ladling the broth in. This is after we added the first amount of ladles of the saffron chicken broth. And as you can see, the starch comes away from it, and that's what gives it the creaminess. So you want to continue to do this and work the broth into the rice and keep it moving until it absorbs it. And then you're going to add more ladles of saffron broth, and you're going to continue doing that until it's until the rice is al dente, and it's going to be like saucy and creamy. But that's what you want. If it seems like loose and like really wet, don't worry about it, because the rice, you know, as it cools and everything, it absorbs more of that juice. So see what I'm doing here? I'm just adding more of that broth. And what I'm going to do, because we want to keep it warm, right? What I'm going to do is just keep mixing this in. Just keep folding the rice into it, into this beautiful broth here. And you're just going to continue to do that and let, you know, the rice absorb it and let the liquid disappear, and then add more liquid and just keep doing the same thing. So I did end up, after I put the wine in, turning it back up to medium. See how it's getting creamier and the rice is starting to grow. So now it's time to add some more of the broth, the chicken saffron broth, to this. I give it about 4 spoonfuls here each time, give or take. I'm just gonna pull that together again and mix it up, and then let it evaporate back again into the rice. But yeah, she's coming along quite nicely. You want all that creaminess happening. This is what makes the creaminess of the risotto happen, when it releases that starch into the broth and cooks. So this is going to be lovely, I can tell already. I'm excited. Okay, so this is coming along really good. I've tested the rice every so often, and I think if I do a good amount of ladling, this time will be the last batch of ladling that I'll have to do, because you want the rice al dente, so you want it like soft, full, but in the center you want that little bit of bite, and you want the creaminess to be saucy, because the rice will absorb it quickly as it cools. But you definitely want it a little bit loose, and yeah, you want that bite. So here's the risotto Milanese all done. Beautiful with the saffron and everything. See how it's creamy and beautiful. That's what you want. You want it loose and creamy and beautiful. I put some fresh grated Parmesan cheese in this, and some super minced flat leaf Italian parsley. And then for this, I made a quick gremolade, which is super finely minced fresh garlic, the zest of lemon, and fresh flat leaf Italian parsley. And then this goes on top of the Osso Buco with the sauce. And now I'm just going to plate it up. Molto bene. Mwah.